Okay, here we go. I just got my first roll of double 8mm film back. I should say most of the roll. It was my first roll. It was my second. I shot a roll of black and white first. It was my first real roll of color film, and I was nervous loading it, and I ended up exposing about 10 feet of it or so, and I had to cut that off. So I don't know. We got about a minute and a half worth of footage here, and it's not perfect, but we learn as we go. This is how it starts out looking. Um, this is what we call an overscan. It's a flat log scan, like I would shoot digitally in a log image to give me the most latitude, flat contrast. These over here on the side are the sprocket holes from the film, and anytime you see that orange stuff or that light coming in, that's from light getting into hitting the film. Probably at the beginning it would have been when I was loading it, the first 10 12 seconds, and then it was pretty good about controlling it after that. um, Show you how I'm color grading this. I've been playing around with it, and there's a few different ways I can do it, but I've been using Dehancer, and that's a like photo emulation thing for digital stuff, but it's got tools that are good for working on film. Turns out, so plus it's really good. But first, okay, so we'll find a frame here and exposure. Let's mess with this exposure first. You'll see we get some colors blooming out. Okay. That's fine for right now. Now what I want to do is I want to crop out this overscan. And this is called Film Gate, and it is dirty. This is an old camera, and I didn't do much to clean it. Like I said, this is my first roll of film I was shooting in it, and I've got another one in there right now. This will be the third one I've shot in it. But I've already moved on to 16mm. I'm going to start shooting that on Wednesday, so, uh, you know, twice the film size, twice the resolution, grain smaller, tighter, stuff like that. So, okay, so now we're cropped our overscan out. And even just adding a little bit of exposure to this color, made it pop and stuff a little bit. Now, see this? I thought the lens on here was parfocal. To me, it kind of looked like it through the viewfinder, which means no matter where you zoom, it's still going to be in focus if it was in focus. So you could zoom in on the dog, focus on her, zoom out, and it would still be in focus. Turns out that's not the case. So in some of my zoom shots, especially, they'll be out of focus, but 8mm is tough, man. It's a tiny little piece of a negative, and you know. So we got a couple different lighting situations here. See, this stuff needs to be graded separately. So let's chop this up, and then maybe finish on this first section before we go on to the. Or we'll either do that or just do the basics for each first. Back it up. Snip. And snip. Okay, and then that's where it burns out. Okay. So let's go ahead and do the basics like we've done on the first one. Let's do that on these. I guess I applied this to everything. Testing the sharpness and stuff, but what I learned was, well, the lens is pretty sharp, but 8mm gets real shaky when you go handheld. Alright, so that's good on there. Let's bring this up. We've got it in the shadows here. This seems to be, must have exposed that little chunk wrong there. So let's just grade it on its own. Yeah, see, this is looking good. Just doing the basics. Film is amazing. That. Those shadows are too low there. Let's see what comes after it. Yeah, okay, so that's another cut. And here. All we're doing is adjusting the contrast. The shadows, the highlights, the midtones, and the color's just blooming out of it. It's great. This here. This is going to take some work. White balances. It's a daylight balanced film. I lit it with tungsten balanced light. I can use color wheels for this, but dehancer is going to get me closer. So let's act like that's normal for a second, and we'll fix it. I mean, I know it doesn't look terrible, but you know, actually, there is something I need to do. Let's pull that skin tone a little more towards yellow, maybe one notch. Alright, and we'll fix that. Alright, so we'll start here. Dehancer. Alright, so Rec 709 is what we're feeding it. Turn off the film emulation. That can stay on. linear. This can stay on. Okay, crank up that color density. We're gonna want that. This, we need temperature compensation. Cool that mamma jamma off. The tints, let's make it a little more magenta. There we go, that's better. Black point, let's raise our black point. That's good. It kind of brought out some more color, like especially the magenta, so I'm gonna pull that back down. Looking good, looking good. Okay. Tonal contrast. Can we afford? If we turn our black point down, we can. Okay. Oh, we got extra grain turned on. We don't need that. Okay, it's still looking yellow, so let me come back into here. No, that's better. Let's just start anew. No, go back to the color board and just pull out some yellow. Okay, now it's a little magenta, so let's see what happens if we pull out some magenta. There we go. Maybe some blue in the highlights. There we go. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Much better. It's a little magenta still, huh? Ooh, too yellow though. If you pull out yellow, you're adding, something else. So like this green, this yellow, we're pulling that out. We're gonna be like pushing up this channel here. So I think let's go mess with the tint a little. It's looking pretty good. I could live with that. Okay, so let's start back here. Throw a dehancer on here. We're feeding it Rec 709. Turn off the film emulation LUT. This can stay. This can stay. Turn the grain off. Oh, you know what? A step that might help here. There we go. Shadows, warm that up a little maybe. Cool it off. See what happens. Cool it off a little maybe. Midtones. Maybe just a little warm. Highlights. Cool them off a bit. Oh yeah, look at that. Much more natural. Make sure I don't have any grain, bloom, halation turned on. I'm getting all that from the film and the old lens myself, so I don't need to add it. Digital stuff can be so clean today. If you want to, everybody's trying to emulate the look of film, because film's expensive to shoot on. But, I don't need to turn that stuff on if I'm already here using film. So all right, so let's turn up this black point. Let's look at our contrast. I'm gonna want to warm up those highlights at least, maybe more. Tonal contrast, just a few notches, sure. Analog, that sometimes brings it back to a little more natural looking. If you've gone too far, warm up the highlights, warm up the shadows. This whole thing could probably be stand to be warmed. There we go. It's a little green, that's natural because we're in the woods here. Got light bouncing off and through the trees, through the leaves. Okay, looking good, looking good. Maybe... Take a second to see what this is looking like. Now, if we turn the analog on, is that better? She's a little more washed at the beginning's good. We can leave it on and just turn the black points up a little bit, I think. And let's see, we shot this at 16 frames a second. And it might be playing back a little faster than I shot it. Okay, so this is looking good. That could be a little warmer, but I think it's probably fine. Okay, so this piece is fine. It's, I mean, you know, it's not trying to be anything fancy. It's exposed fine. The highlights could come up, I suppose. Okay, so let's de-answer Rec 709, turn off the film emulation, and turn off the grain. Crank up that color density. I'm all about that. And it doesn't make as big of a difference on film, but when you're doing it on a digital, it gives it this kind of look, so, you know. Black point's good here. I don't need to. I think we're good. It's a little high there. Okay. It's contrasty, but I had a hard light source, so makes sense. Alright, this bit here just really needs to be warmed up, I think. Do it with the enhancer, it's just the best at this stuff. So let me turn off this stuff. Plus we want to turn our density up, color density, just in case. I know it doesn't seem like it's doing much, but adjust the tint, just a little magenta. Now, black point. Bring our saturation or vibrancy out a little bit too. Okay. Maybe like a 6, 7. Let's try 7. Yeah, okay. We did this piece. No, we didn't. Looks good. Okay. Laney, let's turn off this. Turn off the grain, the extra grain. Alright, so color density is step 1. Alright, we can raise the black point a hair. You know, we could be giving this a Kodak film print. I know this has a softer kind of look to it that I dig, but Fujifilm's a little too stylized usually. Kodak's what we're more used to. And this is like if you wanted to print it out on paper, but for like a film print, yeah, you know, that's an option. Give you this slider for target white where you can warm it up and cool it off. Kodak 2383 film print. It's looking good. I'm gonna have to separate this and this, I think, because they're just exposed too differently. Highlights. If I take blue out of the highlights, I'm pushing orange in. I'm trying to warm them up a little. Yeah, that's not bad. That's a good middle ground. That right there. Shadows kind of crushed to black, but it's not in focus anyway. Like I said, there's different ways to go about this, you know. Do I have these on analog? Analog range limiter. Do now. Sure. I like a warm look, especially outside in my backyard, you know, it just feels cozy. Little analog. Okay. Let's throw a dehancer on here. 709. Turn off emulation profile. Kodak film print. Crank up the color density. Let's see. Analog range limiter. And a little warmth. Make sure that extra grain's turned off. Did I do that? Are the shadows too low? I don't mind crushing the shadows a little bit. Some people don't like to do it. I don't mind. But it's better. Let's make another cut here. And we already did this one. Let's check about that. Analog range limiter. Okay. So look at a little green. Okay. So let's take a look at it. No sound, obviously. And I'm not saying this is the best I could do or that this is the way you should do it. Like I said, there's different ways to go about this. I've been playing with it. I don't think this is the best results I've gotten. I think I've gotten better results with this clip, with this footage. Learning how to color grade the film, but this is definitely not something I would be ashamed of. I'm into this, you know. Well, it's my brother. using the last of the film on the roll for a little lens test. It's where you can see it's not parfocal, because I'd zoom in, set my focus, then zoom back out for my shot, frame up my shot, thinking it was still going to be in focus. That's called parfocality on a lens, and it's not. So there we go.